July 2, 1994. USAir's McDonnell Douglas DC-9-31 operated scheduled domestic flight US 1016 on the Columbia-Charlotte route. There were 57 people on board. The airliner operated a domestic flight 93 miles long and with an estimated duration of 35 minutes. The crew consisted of the captain, co-pilot, and 3 flight attendants. There were 52 passengers on board. At 18:10 hours, according to the schedule, the DC-9 took off from Columbia Airport. The flight was uneventful until approaching Charlotte, where a thunderstorm front was observed in the immediate vicinity of the airport. At 18:35 hours, the crew established contact with the approach controller, who transmitted.
USAir 1016, keep 4000, lane 18 right. Turn 10 degrees to the right, descend and take 2000 heading for a visual approach to lane 18 right, 300.
The captain acknowledged the information. At this time, the air traffic controllers themselves on the tower of Charlotte Airport noticed that it was very heavy rain in the southern part of the airport, so the West Sector approach controller radioed Flight 1016.
USAir 1016, we have heavy rain in the southern part of the airfield, therefore, the approach will be on ILS. Also an altitude correction, keep 3000.
At 18:39 hours, the approach air traffic controller contacted Flight 1016 again and instructed.
USAir 1016, runway 18, allowed to land behind FK 100.
To this, Douglas replied,
"Would be grateful for actual weather information from the guy in front of us."
A few minutes earlier, the crew of the Fokker 100, USAir Flight 984, made a safe landing. The crew of Flight 984 reported that the landing was smooth and without any problems. The controller brought this information to Flight 1016. According to Addis at 18:36 hours, at that time there was partly cloudy over Charlotte Airport, visibility reached 6 miles, there was a thunderstorm with heavy rain, haze. However, at the time of Flight 1016's approach, this information had not yet been transmitted to aircraft in the airport area. The rain was pouring down, and the visibility in it did not exceed 1,312 feet. The crew of Flight 984, which landed before Flight 1016, reported normal weather data on landing, but the weather deteriorated significantly as they taxied to the parking lot. At 18:40 hours, the tower controller transmitted a wind shear warning for all aircraft, but on a different radio frequency than that used by the DC-9 crew. Before entering the glide path, Flight U-1016 approached the runway at an angle of 45 degrees to the left, following in heavy rain and occasionally hitting air pockets. The captain, realizing that his plane was in a serious predicament, attempted to abort the landing. At an altitude of about 196 feet, the captain increased the engine speed and pulled the helm, after which the liner began to rise, but then deviated to the right and quickly began to lose altitude. At 6:42 p.m., a DC-9 landed in a field within the airport boundary, 2,165 feet southwest of RWY-18RH. After flying 787 feet, deviating to the left, the plane broke through the airport fence, went into a residential street and crashed into trees. The plane broke into 4 pieces and caught fire. Rescue services arrived 5 minutes after the crash. When hitting trees and destroying the aircraft, both pilots were severely injured, but survived. All 3 flight attendants were also injured. 32 passengers died in the destruction of the fuselage, another 5 suffocated in a fire. Such a large number of victims was facilitated by the fact that the collapsed salon was filled up with debris. All emergency exits were blocked, so passengers got out only through cracks in the fuselage. The crash killed 37 passengers, while the remaining 15 passengers and all 5 crew members were injured. The debris also caught 4 people on the ground, but they were practically not injured. The investigation into the causes of the crash of Flight 1016 was taken up by U.S. National Transportation Safety Board. The final report of the NTSB investigation was released on April 4, 1995. Investigators have come to believe that the Charlotte disaster was due to the following factors. The crew decided to continue the landing approach in difficult weather conditions, prone to the creation of microbursts. The pilots did not recognize the wind shear and the danger of the situation in time. Information about dangerous weather conditions and wind shear was not transmitted in real time. The controllers did not bring it to the crews in a timely manner. Therefore, in the conditions of a rapidly developing thunderstorm and getting into a microburst, a go-around was not started in time. The contributing factors were: 1. Lack of control over the work of the airport dispatch service, including the air traffic controller did not request information from the weather radar and did not transfer it to the aircraft crew. 2. The observer at the airport control tower did not inform the controllers of all sectors and did not check that they know and provide the crews with timely information about horizontal visibility, including on the runway, as well as about a high level of wind shear hazard. 3. USAir's procedures were not in accordance with established standard operating procedures. 4. Weaknesses of the wind shear warning program, which did not warn of danger when entering a microburst.